Hello, everybody, and welcome to Game Rambling, episode 47. Is that right?
Yep,
47?
47.
47. I am Cyrus,
I'm Picky Old Gamer.
and we're here to ramble again about video games. Before I start, I just want to make a brief statement. Nothing too major. Guys, let's try to have fun, you know? This show's a fun show. We try to have fun. I know last week we got kind of bogged down a little bit with some debate. And that's cool. We should always discuss things, sometimes even in a vigorous way. But let's just try to keep the show lighthearted and not get too serious with it. Which I should take my own advice, right? Because sometimes I can be kind of a jerk. So, anyway.
No,
No, not sigh.
never.
Oh no! As you can go back and watch my YouTube channel, and you might that might challenge the idea that I'm never a jerk. But anyway, I that we might be doing something on there. I did this other thing on there called "A Hill to Die On," which is just a video game playing and then talking about controversial stuff. And I think Pickle Gamer might join me for some of that.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
It'll be good times. So anyway, welcome to the chat, guys. Welcome to the show. We got a lot to talk about. First thing we're going to do is take a look back. And we're going to take a look back at one of the greatest years in gaming. Maybe the greatest. I don't know. I'm not going to say it's the greatest. But damn, is it a great year. 20 years ago, video games were changed forever. 20 years ago, some of the best experiences were given to us. We were led down a new path. Gaming was changed from 2D sprites and 16-bit systems to I'm a little hot. Okay. Ooh, thanks, Eugene. Says I'm a little hot. Let me bring my mic down just a little bit. Hopefully that's not too bad there. Okay. So anyway, yeah, 1997, a great year for gaming. And just a really great experience. And I thought it would be great to talk about some of these games that were released that year. Let me know if my audio is any better. It seems like it's fine on this end, but I don't know. Something happens somewhere along the way here. I don't know exactly what's going on with it. Anyway, let's just start off with some of these games that got released during 1997. Okay. Do you have any particular game that stands out to you that you remember, Pickle Gamer, from 1997?
Well, the first one on the list is like Final Fantasy VII. That's just
Final Fantasy.
I can't. Yeah, was that was yeah that was 97. I can't believe how long ago that is. Of course, I feel old.
Not Final Fantasy VII. Obviously, I mean it's like one of the most famous video games ever made. Probably the most famous RPG ever made, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what's more, what's more popular or at least more well known? I don't know.
Some
Uh,
people hate it. Some people hate seeing Final Fantasy VII. I don't hate it, but it's just it was a massive. It was the first jump to that type of gaming that we know today. You know, it
yeah,
was primitive, but it's good.
it took forever to make too. I mean,
Yeah.
they kept talking about it and talking about it, and we weren't sure if it was going to be on N64 or not. And then when Nintendo said, "Hey, we're not going with CDs, we're going to stick with cartridges," they moved over to Sony, and it was a big deal. That game was on how many discs? 3 discs? Is that right?
3.
Wow.
That's huge. I mean, if you think about that, back in the day, it's still 600 megs a disk, give or take 650. That's a lot of data, even if for back in that day.
It is. It was crazy, and there was so much FMV, like cinematics, and
Hmm.
full musical score, and they integrated. What was cool about Final Fantasy was how it integrated like full motion backgrounds with like polygons that were being
Hmm.
generated and stuff like that. That was it was very innovative, very very innovative for its time. Some other games we talked about N64. We should mention there's several like of the big N64 games
I
that
know.
hit in '97. So we got. I was trying to sort this by date, but for some reason it's not sorting correctly. But so let me do it alphabetically, and that will help me identify what I'm trying to find. Okay. so I'm still not finding it. Okay, I had this all in front of me, and now I don't. That's great. Okay, so
yeah.
for Nintendo 64, we have to mention Star Fox. Okay, Star Fox came out in July 1st. Okay,
Yeah.
Star Fox was innovative for many, many reasons. So obviously, it took that genre of space shooter to a different level. Yeah, it was a rails shooter for the most part, but really showed you what graphics could be produced in real time. But the big thing about Star Fox was, of course, that it came with the Rumble Pack.
Yeah. We started pushing all the expansions and new things that the N64 hadn't done before, and it was something else.
Yeah, the Rumble Pack. Before that, none of the major game consoles had any kind of force feedback. Okay, Nintendo comes out with the Rumble Pack, and everybody just freaking loves it. Everybody goes nuts over this thing. And then Sony ends up having to redesign the PlayStation controller first to compete because Nintendo's analog stick is hugely popular too, and they're realizing, hey, this is probably a better way to control, 3D stuff, a polygonal type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So now Sony had to redesign their stuff, and they incorporated both of those. So it's just interesting, and they've kind of stuck with that same basic design ever since. So it was a very innovative time for gaming as far as controllers and add-ons and things like that. Okay, I found it. Mario Kart. Mario Kart came out in February the 10th. It's funny because Mario Kart was on the Super Nintendo, and it was 2-player on Super Nintendo, and I really didn't get into it that much. I know, like Eugene and some other people, they really love Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. But Mario Kart 64 was where I figured it out. I was like, oh, I get it. I understand. And we talked about before, like missing college and, classes and stuff like that. So we'd go play freaking Mario Kart. Just last night, my family, we were all playing the new Mario Kart until the wee hours of the morning. So it's obviously a franchise that has endured because of the success of Mario Kart 64. GoldenEye came out in 1997.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I saw that, and I was like, "Holy crap!" That really, in some cases, some people overshadows Mario Kart. It's like one of the most loved first-person shooters on a system that really wasn't good at first-person shooters. And I remember playing it. I love that thing. It's fantastic.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to remember. You got to take a hit for that one. It was for you. This was for you, GoldenEye.
Oh man! Oh, that's a good shit right there.
That was a golden hit, man. I get golden eyes from that shit.
Ooh.
No, not really. Okay. But yeah, GoldenEye changed what developers understood about first-person shooters on consoles, because before GoldenEye, they didn't really know how to do it. Like, they actually didn't have a lot of faith that you could do a first-person shooter on consoles. Yeah. I mean, first-person shooters on PC were much more evolved. I mean, you should. Just to say, 1997 in December, Quake 2 came out for PC. Okay.
Right. If you look back in May, Shadow Warrior and Blood came out. This is the year they started rolling into the newer, more advanced first-person shooters. I noticed that. This is a fantastic list.
Right. So
Hexen 2. There's Hexen 2. Holy crap!
Right.
I didn't see that.
So PC had first-person shooters figured out. They were like, okay, we got this, But console, it was they were like, I don't know if that's really something you can do. I mean, they had tried for a while. There were several different first-person type games that had been attempted, and they just didn't quite catch it. But what's fascinating about GoldenEye is it was produced by a team of 10 people, and 8 of those people had never worked on a game before. So they were told basically, hey, here's this franchise. We're going to make this game. Go make the game. And normally we would have to try to really push to get this game out for the movie release. Don't worry about that. Just finish the game, and when it's done, it's done. So GoldenEye changed completely from what it was originally envisioned as, because it was originally envisioned as sort of a rail shooter like Virtua Cop. And by the time it came out, it became this more,
Hmm.
open world kind of, if you, I guess is the word for it, first person shooter.
And people
So,
are always still talking about multiplayer split screen with it because they had 4-player split screen where people can run around and like, damn it, stop getting what was his name? The butler guy, the big old guy, the
oh, Odd Job, Odd
odd job.
Job.
I was like, damn it, stop doing it. Or somebody would get the golden gun and like, son of a bitch, no.
Have you played that one they did on PC, the GoldenEye Source or whatever they call it, the one that's like made with the Half-Life engine?
I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, it's not official. I don't. I think it's just like something you can download. But they've made the multiplayer version of GoldenEye, not the single player, but they've made the multiplayer version in like the Half-Life engine, and you can download it. I would love
Hmm.
to play it. I've never tried it. That might be something fun we could do. Just
Oh
checking that
yeah.
out.
I had to get Half-Life 2 again, but that shouldn't be hard to do because they're not going to make Half-Life 3.
Well, it's how can they be expected to make games? They're just a game company.
Holy shit.
Oh, we don't want to talk
Uh,
about Valve. That's right. I'm sorry. We can keep things away from that. It's funny because in '97 they released Mario Kart, and then in the same year they released in April, or excuse me, in November, which is almost all the way around the calendar, because Mario Kart was February, and then
hmm.
in November they released Diddy Kong Racing. It was the same year. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. I was like, really? It's the same year?
I think they're just trying to go along with that the success. Of course, it was not as big a success, but still, it's
Yeah,
another racing game from Nintendo.
it's pretty fascinating. It's pretty fascinating. And as much as everything was pushing into the polygon space, there was one of the greatest games ever released, and a reminder that new systems could still do 2D and do it better than ever. And the genre was redefined with this game that I'm about to mention, and the franchise was redefined by this game, and that's Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which came out in March.
Yep.
Holy shit! What a game! What
That
an
changed
amazing!
that changed it to Metroid or Vania. They called it Metroidvania style because they
Yeah.
opened it up and you got to go around. And I actually I was out of Castlevania. I skipped this and somebody my cousin is like, hey, he had a Game Boy SP, the good SP. I love that little laptop style. You flip that thing open. He's like,
Yeah.
here, try this Aria of Sorrow, and I was just like, oh my
Oh
god,
yeah.
this is. And then we played that, and I finally got into the Metroidvania style later on, but this is the granddaddy.
Yeah. Symphony of the Night. What I would really like to see an HD remaster of Symphony of the Night.
Where they
It's
are making that new one.
oh that
That's
one.
that Kickstarter, yeah, and it's coming to the Switch now.
That one looks cool. That one looks cool. I mean, it's not officially Castlevania, but still, it's
From
the
the guy
same.
who worked on them before it, and I think they've had a beta. My friends backed it. He don't back many of them. He played the beta, said it was good. So
Yeah, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be
it's
great.
2018, but can you imagine a Castlevania like not really, but made by one of the guys, and here it is on the Switch, and you can play it anywhere in a nice Unreal Engine. Be like, yeah, that's awesome.
This is another good year to be a gamer. we're we're
Yeah.
we're having another like resurgence. Another golden year of gaming. Everything comes back to gold for some reason. I don't know. Anyway.
Golden, except golden showers. That's just bad.
Okay. Well,
I had to
let's.
ruin it. Sorry, mothers. Anybody, it's, the Mother's Day. I had to ruin it. Yeah, look at me.
Way to go. Way to go. We
Yeah,
should
I know.
mention some more PC games that were really awesome that came out that year. Jedi Knight, Dark Forces 2, and X-Wing versus
Hmm.
TIE Fighter, both.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
Carmageddon. A lot of people are big cult fans of Carmageddon. That was a very big controversial game. Pulled in other countries, actually turned to where they were actually zombies instead of people, and all the violence. You have X4,
No.
which was okay, didn't do really well, but going down through here, I saw another one, Grand Theft Auto the first Grand Theft Auto came out.
Yeah. Wow. The very. Holy shit. Wow. The first Grand Theft Auto. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Think about how far that series has come.
I know. Then we got the shit game Mortal Kombat 4, which we always hoping it's going to be great. Then we're like, what the fuck happened? But, that's, like you said, was pushing into the third dimension. Everybody was going to do it.
Mortal Kombat 4, Tekken 3. That's another good arcade game that came out there.
And I got that on the PlayStation. I remember I wasn't even into Tekken. It was so big that I went ahead and bought it. And I was like, oh my God, go to one of my friend's house. Let's play this. And it's like, oh, holy shit, this is awesome. So
there's a game listed on here, Blade Runner, for the PC. My brother bought that game, and I can remember he had the box, and it was like this huge box, and it was all this elaborate stuff. And I don't think he was ever able to really play it because its system requirements were just ridiculous for that game. And then, like, years later, when you would want to go play it, by that time, the operating system had changed so much to where there was all these incompatibilities and shit. So I think he never really got to play that. I hope he did, but I don't remember him ever actually getting to play it. That sucks.
Oh yeah. Well, if you look down there, it's amazing that this year also showed the first Fallout game.
Wow, Fallout. Wow. Talk about another storied franchise. How much of 4 did you get to play?
I beat it finally. I finally went back and beat it all the way to the end. It's pretty good. It's good. It's not as good as 3, but it's a good game.
Yeah, I'd
probably play it on PC next time if you could. Yeah. All the extra stuff.
No, absolutely. If I can get it cheap, I definitely want to get it on PC. Eugene's got a point. Mortal Kombat 2 was the best Mortal Kombat.
I had to say, I agree with him. They really when Mortal Kombat 2 came out, I got to see one arcade machine in my childhood. I was getting toward middle school and everything else, I think. And I literally could not get to the machine. It was in a Walmart of all places. And these kids are all around. I barely got to see it, but I remember buying an electronic game monthly. It was just the entire breakdown. Not all the magazine, but a good third or a quarter of the magazine was breaking down Mortal Kombat 2. It was that big. They just cranked it up to 11 and released a better version. It still is the best version, in my opinion. 3 went stupid.
Yeah, 3 was a bit much.
Yeah.
4, oh my God. And you know what? This is a bad year for Mortal Kombat because we also got Mortal Kombat Mythologies.
No, yeah, that one. Hell, that's even got its own AVGN episode. Yes, Eugene. Yes, Eugene. The run button sucked. It was a flaming pile of shit. I wish somebody would just smack whoever did that. Oh,
why did they have a run button?
And then when they run, it's like, really? Sounds like he's taking a shit.
Oh my God.
Oh, we just skipped over Turok.
Turok
came out for N64 this year. That's another first-person shooter.
Yeah, and the weapons in that game were nuts. That was the big thing about, like, the big selling point was you had these crazy guns, and they had this one. I remember they had this one rifle that you would get, and it would shoot like a laser blast that would just like basically like fill up the whole damn screen, and just like it's crazy. Turok. I mean, they made a bunch of Turok games after that.
I think they went up to 3 at least.
Well, I know they had Turok 1, 2, and 3, and then they had like a Rage Wars or something. Mm-hmm. They kind of petered that series out. It's not really around anymore, is it? I mean,
I think they brought. If I'm looking, I actually got Steam pulled up here just to look at some stuff. I think Half-Life 2 is only $10. That's kind of good. Turok, they actually redid Turok.
Oh, they did? Oh, that's right. Yeah, they recently redid it. That's right.
Yeah, and it actually looks. I mean, it's kind of. I don't know if this looks like. Yeah, I think they redid it, but there's a version for 20. It's actually old school graphics. But I thought they were redoing it, but yeah.
Huh. Yeah. We should mention also on PlayStation. This was the year the first Gran Turismo came out. Holy shit!
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah.
December 23rd, Gran Turismo, the first one. Wow.
That is awesome.
The new one is going to be so good. Have you seen the footage for Gran Turismo Sport?
I really don't keep up with the stuff like that, but I know a lot of people love them.
What I love about Gran Turismo is it's not okay. the problem that I have with Forza is it seems like they push too hard. Like that we got to get a new Forza, we got to get a new Forza, and so the level of progress between them is not that great. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, instead of waiting and taking your time
yeah,
and just and like, all right. I mean, I'm not into them because they're racing. I'm not that. I like stuff. It's Mario Kart-ish. Not always Mario Kart. Something that's a not. If it's super realistic, it's just not my thing. But there's a
yeah.
lot of people that love it. I get that.
Oh yeah, I love racing games, like legit racing games, not these
Hmm.
like story racing games. It gets on my nerves when like that's the problem that I have with the Need for Speed games, is they sort of devolved into this thing where you race for 5 minutes, then you got to watch a 10-minute video, and it's like
Yeah,
actors doing some shit from the movie from like what's that movie with Vin Diesel?
Fast and
The
Furious.
Yeah, it's like you got to watch the Fast and Furious every 5 minutes, and you watch, and then you're like, okay, I can play for a few minutes again. I'm like, come on, man.
Like, I don't give a shit, man. What the hell?
What's funny is the Grand Theft Auto 5 kind of changed my thinking about racing games because like I used to buy racing games all the time, and one of the last ones that I can remember really enjoying was Burnout Paradise.
Yeah.
Uh, and I really liked Burnout Paradise until I got Grand Theft Auto 5. And when I got Grand Theft Auto 5, I was like, well, now I can't really go back because Burnout Paradise, there's no people in the city. There's no people at all. It's just
Wow.
cars. It's creepy as shit.
And that's something else.
So it's funny how times change and you go back and there's certain games you can go back to and play
Hmm.
in a retro way and really enjoy.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Some of them you go back to, you're like, oh my God, how did I enjoy this stinking game? But then it's just some things are not designed to age well. They're just
yeah,
not.
that's true. That's true. Uh, and see, and that's the other thing. This era of gaming that was happening in '97 is criticized a lot because people say the games don't really hold up as much because of the graphics, because of the style of the polygons and stuff. And I don't think that's really a fair statement. If you go back, like I recently rebought an N64, and I recently discovered not that long ago, just a few months ago, something I never knew my PS3 could play PS1 discs. I never knew that. Like
Oh yeah, everybody forgets that. And I got one PS1 game. I got Soul Blade, and I found a ridiculously
yeah,
good copy, almost perfect. I just put it in my PS3, and it looks horrible, kind of horrible. It looks bad, but it's just as responsive. Yeah,
right,
PS1 games, you don't need any weird emulation or stuff. Just put it to PS3.
right.
That's worth keeping a PS3 right there.
It The PS3 is amazing. But anyway, like basically what I'm trying to say is, I think if we're honest about some of these games, you go back and you think about these awesome games from even just '97, and these games hold up. Mario Kart, Star Fox, GoldenEye, these games hold up. Yeah, I understand the graphics have improved a lot. You look at Final Fantasy VII and you go, "Ooh, that's kind of rough." So that might be an example of a game where you say these graphics need to be updated. But some of these games, they look good. They still don't look
Well,
bad.
they updated Final Fantasy VII for PS4. I mean, it's not the remaster that we're waiting for. It's probably going to take another year or two to come out. But it doesn't hold up as much because really Final Fantasy VII was completely pushing the envelope. It was pushing the envelope, and when you're outside of the battle scenes, it does look god awful. Even back then, it wasn't horrible, but you kind of looked like, why in the hell are they so blocky? And then when you jumped into the battle system, it loaded higher polygon counts. I'm like,
Yeah, it looks so much better in the battles. Good point. It's been so long since I played Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, when you get into the battles, it looks like a whole different game. I've forgotten how like I would get into the battle and be like, "Damn, why don't the game look like that?" You know
and
what?
if you think about it, they're loading only a small portion of it while you sit around and fight. So
You reminded me of something else that I read about GoldenEye, which is fascinating. They were talking about when they developed GoldenEye, they didn't have the complete hardware spec for what the N64 was going to end up being. So they were sort of spitballing what they thought the system would be capable of. And what they ended up having to do right at the end, when they finally got the total specs, is they actually had to reduce the quality of the textures to about half the quality. And then they also had to make them black and white. And then they added the color is added later. Like all the bitmaps for the bit mapping are black and white graphics. So I was like, wow, really?
That's interesting.
It is interesting. It is. It's funny how back in those days you had so little room to work with. You had to really try to squeeze as much blood as you could out of that turnip.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of even the 3D. Oh, the PlayStation was different because it had hundreds of megs per disc. They could load bitmaps or the textures, but the N64 was still kind of processing old school ways, where the cartridges maxed at 64 megabytes, 64 megs, versus a 650 meg, 10 times for one disc. And they didn't get that cartridge to the very end. And now we're running the Switch, and they are up to 32 gigs.
Yeah. It's funny. I've got a flash cart from N64, and on a micro SD that's 4 gigabyte, I have every N64 game.
Mm-hmm. Because a lot of them were like 3 or 4 megabytes, and that's it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And I think Resident Evil 2 took 64 megs because they had to really do a lot to get it. And it was a good version. But, Final Fantasy, they're like, we're not going to go back to the 2D. We're going to do this. And they just couldn't do it.
Well, I think we've kind of gone through that. 97, great year. Awesome year for gaming. Great legacy that it's left us the past 20 years. And that, you ask why we care so much about retro gaming, because I talk to some people there's a podcast that I help out with sometimes called the Post Game Report, and sometimes when I'm on there, a couple of the guys, they just don't understand retro gaming. They're just like, why do you give a shit about these old systems? Like, move on. And I'm like, no, dude, you don't understand. Like, and Leo was talking to me not that long ago, and he's like, basically he was saying something to the effect of, when you go back and play these old games, you've just memorized what to do, and it's comfortable for you because you've already memorized what to do. And I'm like, no, that's not true either, because I go back to a lot of these systems and play games I never got to play. I go back, or finish a game I never got to finish and things like that. So it's not about me just sitting down and turning the brain off and just, I'm sure there's some of that too, but that's not what it's all about. We love retro games because they're awesome. So
we don't play everything. Some things don't translate well, and a game that was okay back then is still not any better now. Yeah. But if you find something you have good memories, you just put the game back in and play it and enjoy it.
Yeah, totally. Well, we should look at the future, though, right? If we're going to look at the past, we should look at the future. And I saw this story pop up, and I thought it was fascinating because from a gamer's perspective, this story will probably be a little confusing, but there's a lot to kind of look at, and I figured it would be worth mentioning. Every time you do that, it freaks me out. All right. So Nvidia has revealed this new chip that they've been working on, and it's called the V100 chip. And I didn't know exactly what it was, so I had to do some research on it. I was like, Nvidia, really? They got a new thing going on. I knew they had just released the 1080 Ti not that long ago, which was about half the price of the Titan series, but almost the same performance. So I was like, man, are they trying to compete with this Ryzen thing that AMD's doing, or what's going on here? Well, not really.
No, they're going in a different direction, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, so this thing is being designed mainly for Tesla, and it's being designed for high-spec computers that are like supercomputers and systems that require an enormous amount of processing. So it's not even designed in the same way, and the chip is humongous. It's quite large. So it's a very different kind of thing. What I thought was fascinating about this was the specs, which I have listed on the screen. We talk about like teraflops a lot of times. You'll hear that word thrown around quite a bit in the gaming community, especially when people start talking about the PS4 Pro and the Scorpio, and measuring each other's wings and trying to figure out which system is the best and the
It's
most
called a
powerful.
dingus. They're measuring their dingus. Get it right.
Right. So look at, I don't know. I don't know if you can see it on the screen.
I see it. Yeah.
Okay. So this thing tops out at 30 teraflops, which is an enormous amount of processing capability. But it should be worth mentioning that this is not a gaming GPU. Okay. Don't think about it in those terms. And this thing's going to cost thousands of dollars. It's not something you would buy for if you bought this thing for your home rig to play, I don't
One,
know.
it wouldn't play because it's not designed to play like that. But
Right.
I look at the bandwidth, 900 gigabits a second.
It's insane.
It's for AI.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is for computers that are going to be doing things that you're not going to be doing, playing games. I did see some commenters who basically that's the statement that needs to be kind of taken into account. But I did have some commenters who were basically saying something to the effect of, well, that's just because you're not thinking forward enough. You're not thinking about where gaming is going to go and blah, 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 and all this kind of thing. And I'm like, no, man, we are so far from that being a gaming GPU. That is not something that I'm concerned about. But I just thought it was interesting to mention that this thing had, that Nvidia had showed this off, and try to explain a little bit about what it was, because people might see that and think, well, Nvidia, man, what the, no, it's not a gaming GPU. It's so far from that. Although the specs are, it seems like anytime any kind of a GPU gets released and there's specs out there for it, people are immediately going to throw it into the comparison mix, Well, AMD sucks because here's the thing that Nvidia's got. Look at this. And I'm like, no, dude. This is not.
It's a different application.
Right.
They're just using their knowledge to make something different. I think it's very powerful. It's just different. It's just what they could do with it and helping in the autonomous cars and all the other processes in here. It's unknown. I don't know much about it. I'm not going to talk like I know a lot about it. It's just amazing what they're doing. AMD is doing really well in the console market. They make good chips for the console market, and AMD does good on the. I'm not an AMD fan on the computer side, but it's not like I hate them. I just go with Nvidia because I like them. But
yeah,
there's too much AMD versus Nvidia that I'm like, okay, come on, people.
Yeah, it's another one of those tribal things. People get so caught up in mine. My dog can beat your dog. My dad can beat up your dad.
My dad can beat up your dad, man. What are you talking about, man?
That's what the internet is nowadays, right? It's I'm on the red team, you're on the blue team, and we're going to fight. And
I'm on the green team.
Ooh, the green team's never as popular as the blue team and the red team.
You notice Nvidia all is green. All their stuff it does is green. It's kind of interesting, but
okay. Well, I guess that's true. There's a green team and a red team. Anyway,
I don't know.
That wasn't my point. You know what my point was.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So I just felt like that was kind of an interesting story. Another interesting story, another thing that that I felt like we should discuss. If you're concerned about your computer's processing power because you want to play the latest games, and you're a fan of, really good games, really good storied franchises, you would probably be concerned, or at least interested to know, that there have been some developments with Mass Effect. Apparently, the series is on hold. Apparently, Andromeda, I don't know if it didn't make enough money or what exactly the deal is, but it looks like they're not going to be making any more for a while. Did you read about this?
I saw something about they're just going to go ahead and put that on hold, and I'm thinking it's not over. and like I said, I didn't make a video this week, and I had seen a lot of stuff come across my plate and make comments. I didn't want to just keep making Switch videos because there's information about Nintendo, nothing major, nothing bad. But yeah, I think that the way Mass Effect Andromeda came out, it didn't do what everybody thought it was going to do. I mean, I remember when it was the NX and then the Switch, and before it come out, it's not going to get Andromeda. It's a piece of shit system. And now that the game didn't flop, it didn't do what it's supposed to do because of just the poor planning, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they kind of smacked into a brick wall, and now they're going, "Ow, okay, we got to back up for a little bit." I think they need to back up and regroup. So
Yeah. You know, this story ties into another story, and I think we can talk about them both at the same time, actually. So I'm going to jump ahead a little, but we're not leaving this story necessarily. Did you see the recent debacle that happened at IGN involving Prey? Okay, so
yeah, because they rated it a 4 because it had a bug in it, and then they had to go back and redo the rating to an 8 because it was patched, right?
yeah, thanks for joining us, Eugene. We'll see you later. Yeah, so IGN did a review for Prey and ended up not being able to get through the game because the game kept screwing up on them. Their saves kept getting corrupted and they had issues. So the guy was like, fuck it, I'm going to release a review and it's going to be a 4. And within days, they patched it, and then IGN does another review and gives it an 8. So this is interesting if you compare what happened with Mass Effect Andromeda. Okay, Mass Effect is released with all kinds of fucking bugs, all right, and people are wobbling around doing the crab people walk and all kinds of weird shit, you know.
Yeah, they fix it, and
they got the Eli Manning face, you know, stuff like that. So what do you think that here, I have a couple of questions related to both of these, all right?
purple and blue. There are your two answers. Go ahead.
Okay, so some people are saying that the reviewer at IGN basically was trying to make a statement about how much he doesn't like when a publisher will release a game that's not finished yet, like a game that's not completed. So he's trying to make a statement, giving it a review of a 4.0, coming in as soon as it's fixed, and then updating that to an 8.0, just to basically say, I was just trying to make a statement that I really like the game. But some people are saying that's what happened. I don't know. I just, you know, Andromeda is released, has all these fucking bugs, and they hang around for quite a while, and then slowly start getting fixed here and there. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, which do you think is a better solution to handle that? Do you ignore the bugs as a reviewer and say, well, they're going to patch this stuff? Or do you start taking points off? Because Breath of the Wild got 10s, and how can
it's
you
not a 10 game. I've always said I won't do a review because people will get pissed at me. The durability in that game is shit. I don't care. I've already finished it. People go, you didn't finish it. Fuck off, people. You want to say I can't play Breath of the Wild? I put 110 hours into it.
Yeah,
the durability is shit. The horse physics is shit. Sometimes I've had the horse just kick up on me for no reason, and then his ass in the back of part of his, it clips into the world. There's some problems. They released some frame rate problems, but people were going enamored with it. But you're probably asking, what's the best thing to do? Wait and review it till it's patched, or give your review it as is? That's what you're asking me?
No, what I'm saying is, clearly Breath of the Wild had some problems, bugs that they fixed a lot of, right? Maybe not, they haven't fixed everything, but I mean, if you look at how Breath of the Wild was when it was released versus how it runs now, there's a big difference.
Massive difference.
Right. So how can you give this game a 10, and then when they fix it, you know, I'm like, how can it be better if it was a 10? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're ignoring the bugs. You're giving it a 10 when you shouldn't give it a 10, because you should be, just my opinion,
analytical.
All things should come into play when you do a review, okay? And if the game's not done, or if the game does have bugs, I don't give a fuck if it's Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft. fucking Valve, Joe Blow down the street, whoever has made a game. I don't care how popular the franchise or how much money they're paying you in advertising. If the game's not done or the game has bugs, you're ignoring that in your review? Like, come on. Like, yeah. I give this guy a lot of credit at IGN. He made a fucking statement. He put out a review. He gave their game a 4 when clearly it was not a 4. It was just he's trying to make a statement about, this game not being done. And then within a couple of days, they got the fucking message and they fixed their game. Okay? And I get everybody has deadlines and everybody has to work with the constraints that you're given. Mm-hmm. I understand that. But come on, man. This is a plague, not for PC gaming. This is a plague for gaming. This is happening on consoles, PCs, on everything.
Mr. Shifty was released on the Switch and it had bad frame problems, and they were going back to patch it, fix it. What I think he did, at first I thought he was, I kind of was reading it, then as you was talking and I read it and I thought about it later before the show, I was like, Cell said he picked up Strafe this week and it was all broken. In a week they fixed a lot of it. Should it be, see it as a bad game or commend it for being fun and quick? I think, we shouldn't just bash the games for bashing sake. And my friends that I play World of Warcraft with, they said it, and it was their opinion. The 10s were paid for. I do believe the 10s were paid for on some of them, because to me, Breath of the Wild is a 9.0. I don't like the durability. I don't like the way the Master Sword is done. The horse could be improved a little bit, and there's still some stuff that some bugs. There's still some stuff you make you kind of go, "What the hell? Why is it glitching like that?"
I'm not going to go as far as to say that I think that the 10s were paid for.
Some were. I think some of it are. Some places they may be. That's their opinion. Do I think all of them? No. But I think some people do this. They get so enamored into the game. They've been waiting for it for years. They finally go, they don't think. They're either paid, which is not as much as I don't agree with them. That was their opinion. There's a very small percentage that may be paid. Yeah. And there's two people get in there, and I do this too. You're a geek. You're geeking the fuck out. You're going crazy with it. But every console, I don't care who makes it, every PC game that comes out broken, Arkham Knight was the biggest one for the longest time. And I lost it on my PlayStation because I pulled the hard drive. I couldn't get it off there because it was formatted. I was on the PlayStation 4 version. I fell through the fucking world and had a video of it.
Can I kind of diverge for just a second?
No, I'm not. Let me finish this before I forget. I think we should look at these companies, or companies and publishers. It's not always the developers, it's the publishers / developers, and look at them and say, stop. Make sure at least that you don't lose your saves, that it doesn't crash and corrupt. My friend and I tried to play Saints Row 4. It's still broken on Steam. It corrupted his save game completely. We can't play it. And say, make it playable. Okay, frame drops. Okay, a bug or two here. But if it's not fully ready, they shouldn't say, we're not going to release it on our consoles. Or Steam should say, we're not going to release it. Yeah. No Man's Sky. Oh, yeah. That was another one. Yeah. Go ahead. Now you may talk, good sir.
Well, you brought up Arkham Knight, which is a sensitive issue for me. And let me tell you why. Did
Batman touch your winky?
Batman. I have a doll. Let me show you where he touched me. No. So quite a while back now, whenever that came out, I did a video called PC Gaming Sucks. You remember this?
Yeah.
And why did I do that video? Because I hate PC gaming? Well, obviously that's not true, unless you're a fucking dumbass and you don't understand how the English language works, which apparently some people were. But so what I did was I made some statements criticizing some games that had just come out that had bugs. Arkham Knight being one of them. Black Ops 3 was another one at that time. Mm-hmm. And you guys have mentioned some other games that have had major game, if not game-breaking bugs, then definitely problems, okay? And yes, we're seeing some of this stuff on console, but I don't think I'm out of line for making the observation that more often this happens on PC, okay?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the I've speculated in the past about why it might be happening, about what those reasons might be, and everybody just gets so fucking pissed they can't deal with it. Like triggered, you know, they can't handle it. Because people refuse to accept any criticism of PC. Like if I say anything in any way that challenges the all-powerful, majestic purity of the PC master race, then they come after me. They come after me, and that's fine. I'm not supposed to I'm not supposed to say anything, okay?
Or they yell at your rig sucks. It's your rig.
I was told more than once in videos and in comments. I was told by a lot of people that I was spreading lies and misinformation because I said that Arkham Knight had game-breaking bugs when it came out, and Black Ops 3 had major bugs when it came out. What they told me was, there's not a problem with the game. It's my problem because I just don't know how to PC because I need to get good. I just don't understand PC, and that's why the games have problems because I just don't know how to run a game. Oh, right. Okay. Dude, we can't live in denial of problems. We should encourage guys like this reviewer to address this issue on a large scale so that it actually does get fixed and it actually gets addressed in a timely manner and that we can draw some attention to this phenomenon. And it's not just PC. I'm not saying that, but it does seem to happen a lot on PC, and PC is the premier gaming platform. Okay. So there's another statement. You know, people want to say, you're just a fucking console peasant. You just hate PC and you're a fucking console peasant. Dude, that I have said many times that I believe, and it's pretty clear to everybody, I think, that the highest quality gaming you can get is on PC. It should be, right?
Should be, but you're not going to always get that.
It should be. For the money you pay and for the investment you put in and for the knowledge required in order to do it, for a console, you turn it on, you play. You know, for PC, you got to know a little bit. The more you know, the better experience you're probably going to have. So for that investment of time and money and information, you should expect PC gaming to be up here and console game. That's why it's never been a debate to me, because I'm like, how can you even compare a console to PC? Console is a convenience. Console is something that you throw in the living room or the bedroom and the kids can play, and you can play when you don't really give a shit and you're just trying to have fun. A PC is more serious. You know, a PC, yes, you can do some of that too, but a PC is obviously bigger and designed for a lot of other things besides just gaming. So come on, there's no comparison. There never was a comparison. The PC versus console debate is a fucking farce.
That's a good debates where they just say when you look at the pros and cons, and as a person, what can your budget look at? Those are good discussions because some people go, man, I just can't afford that. Then go find your best. And what a console is, and I love this statement, they're an appliance. You go buy a TV, you set it down, and other than stupid Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo breaking a console with a patch or two, you hit the button, you turn it on, and you patch it, and you play games. And some people, they can't afford stuff, and that's fine. Life is not about video games and buying the best rig.
Yeah.
You sent me a lot of parts and stuff. I have the money, but I'm doing more toward other things in life, gaming. And if I had to, and if I got to where I couldn't afford stuff, I would keep what this is. And thankfully, with your stuff you sent, I've upgraded. I still got to upgrade some more. But if not, I would have just stayed with consoles because I didn't want to get into it. But
well, yeah.
I always say this. Play what you like. If somebody wants to tell you it's wrong, tell them to go fuck themselves. It's just video games. I do say that.
Fuck those motherfuckers.
well, Selling is in there talking to us, and he said he deals with that some of his I think his podcast. You know, I can't stand that either. Just play what you like. If you say, you know, I just don't have the time for PC, and I want to buy a console, and my friends play on the PlayStation, my friends play on Xbox. You don't have to explain it to anybody. Tell those people, go piss off. I'm over here on my console having fun. Then it doesn't matter what me and you think on this show or any show. Enjoy what you like. Play your video games. They're supposed to be entertainment.
Right. So my whole point from addressing the topic, addressing the issue, focusing on PC, as it's fucked up that this happens on PC, and that pisses me off. So sometimes I think, fuck, PC gaming sucks. Do I think all PC gaming sucks? Come on, that's not even, I mean, like, okay. If you look at it for what I'm actually saying, what I'm saying is it sucks that I spend this money and I spend this time and I spend these resources and I learn all this stuff and I have what should be the best gaming experience possible, and they fuck it up for me because their game's fucked up from the beginning and I can't do anything about it. You tell me, well, I should be able to fix it. How the fuck can I fix a broken game?
How do you do? I mean, some people say, well, I'm good, I'll just go into the files and edit. There's sometimes you can't fix stuff, minor stuff, but you know, I need to reload, or I think I formatted. I may have had Unreal Tournament on here. I need to see if I do. And I had to tweak something.
You know how many
I don't
people,
have it.
On major gaming news websites, they're addressing these issues. They're saying this game has this problem. It's a fucking problem. And so I say, hey, they look at all these sites. They're showing this is a problem. And then instead of them saying, oh yeah, it's on all the gaming sites, you're right, it's a problem, they're like, you just don't know how to fix it. Like, I can fix it. Oh really? So you fixed it? No, you're just saying you can fix it because you refuse to acknowledge that shit like this can happen. And as long as you have this like circle the wagons mentality about PC gaming, as long as people are like, we refuse to hear fucking any criticism, and if you say anything negative, then you're just anti-PC. As long as that mentality exists, you're going to get companies that still put out these fucking games like Prey that have these fucking major problems. So again, it all comes back to me saluting IGN's reviewer here for fucking doing something, for, you know, putting his career on the line. Let's face it, because when a major publisher is putting out a major game and your job is to review that game for your online magazine, and you throw it under the bus to make a statement, you're putting your career in jeopardy.
Well, hey, I don't even think, I think he probably went around and said, hey, look at this. Well, what happened? Okay, let's look at what happened to it. Oh, it cleared my saves out 2 or 3 times. Fucking say that. And then and I mean, maybe their boss said, when it gets fixed, we'll go back and amend it, because they do have the voice. And
right.
Here's another topic from Devil Luke. I think that's how you say it. I can't remember say your name. He has a question. PC fanboys think console exclusives are anti-consumer and evil. What's your opinion? For me, it gives the user a choice. Exclusives are going to happen no matter what, and they're not evil and anti-consumer. PC people are going to say that they're threatened. Again, they need to get over it.
Okay.
Halo lives on Microsoft. It's just one of those things. Yeah. What was that? Killzone lives on Sony. Last of Them lives on Sony. God of War, Sony. I hate to say it, Microsoft. I don't remember a lot. Oh, Forza. I'm not making fun of Microsoft, but they've lost some of their exclusives. Forza lives on Microsoft. They stay there because they are there, and it does give people choice. And you're right.
Well,
it's just, what do you think?
I have a problem with the term anti-consumer, because I think there's some hypocrisy going on the internet when people start talking about this. Imagine you, as a person, pick your gamer, you have $1 billion in the bank, right? And you've decided to...
What the fuck am I doing here?
work with me here. Imagine you have decided to start a video game company, okay? You've decided to, I don't know, buy Atari and rebrand everything, and Atari's going to have a new game console come out that's a modern console. You're going to use the Atari name, so you know you've bought it, it's your thing, whatever.
It's not based on Lizard, is it?
No. You're bringing out a new Atari. It's called the Atari Chameleon. No, it's not.
It comes from Jaguar shells. It comes from Jaguar shells.
Okay, so you're bringing out a new video game console. Your company. You've invested hundreds of millions of dollars in this product that you're going to be producing and marketing. All right. So you've hired 100 people to make games for your console. Okay. So you've hired these teams of people that are going to make games for your system. Because, yeah, you want to get third parties to come on board and do something here, but you got to give them some reason, right? Mm-hmm. You got to give them something to show customers that might buy your console that there's some reason to buy this console, okay? So you produce all these games for your console, right? Because you're trying to sell your console.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here comes some kid or some person. We're not just going to say a kid, we don't want to be like, trigger anybody. So somebody comes along and they're like, I think it's anti-consumer that you don't put those games out on the PlayStation. And it's like, dude, I'm trying to sell my fucking console.
Well,
do you not understand?
That's the thing about the computer, and it's not a versus debate. The computer is a jack of all trades. It's always been a jack of all trades that can run anything because a lot of people don't get, how do you develop a console game? You develop it on a computer. And that goes back to one thing I didn't comment on yours. Why the computer games are so messed up is they just compile it and kick it out there and have PC gamers do free beta testing.
Yeah.
That hurts them when they go through the gates of Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo. They go, oh fuck no, this is broke as shit. We're not putting it on our console. There's a gatekeeper there a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, it's not anti-consumer. If I made the Atari ass kicker, there you go.
The Atari ass kicker. There we go.
It came out. I went and got AMD, or maybe I went to the Nvidia. They helped me with that V100 and scaled it way down to something that's an all-in-one package. It runs I may even get somebody to run on a cartridge that's a little bit bigger. It gives me about 100 gigs of storage. It's got online and it has all this stuff. If you don't have exclusives, you would have three boxes, a Sony, a PlayStation, and we're not going to talk about the Switch. It is different. It's never going to be the same, but it is a different type. If I got all the Call of Duties, Battlefields, and Assassin's Creeds, and Witcher 3, all of them, why then you'll have a person sitting there in Walmart, Target, Best Buy, Fry's, wherever, Amazon on their phone, on their computer, on their phone going, why should I buy this one? Oh, it's got these things, exclusives. They're not anti-consumer. It does suck if you are on a budget. I think the only thing that makes people yell anti-consumer is that if you have a budget, you don't want to buy all the consoles. It does suck. It sucks. This is the first time I've had this many consoles. After getting married, we saved up by a year or so. I was behind my friends. We got a 360. I didn't get another console because we couldn't afford it, but it's video games. Just go find your friends, your group of people you play with, and meet people and actually socialize and not be sitting out there and alienate people because you're yelling Xbox rules, Sony sucks, or Xbox sucks, Sony rules, and just find which one you like. And if you do look over there, well, shit, those exclusives are, wait and go find it on Craigslist and get you a used one later on. Go back and play it. You can't expect people to sit there and want to buy a console's custom. It's custom built. It's custom hardware. It's a PC. Everybody plays Zelda. Remember when it distills that down? I like that when you get all the information, it distills it down to that little drop. They're making a custom box. It's an appliance for a custom company, and they want to make you come to their company.
Yeah, they're selling their product.
And the Microsoft experience, the Sony experience, the Nintendo experience. They've got to have something special, or I ain't going to go against Valve, but Steam machines, they were very generic. I don't see them in stores anymore because they couldn't do one. And I don't know, that may be something different, but if you do have 5 different machines and they're all different, same flavor, people are going to be like, and also that confuses consumers.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
You have to give people reason to buy your thing, okay? And exclusives is probably the biggest example of how you do that. You give people a reason to come to your thing and buy that thing. And this applies to, this isn't just for game consoles. I mean, this could be for anything. It could be for PC. It could be for cars. You make certain cars. Oh, only Nissan has this type of fuel system. Only Ford has this type of integrated communication system. Well, that's anti-consumer because they don't put that in Chevys? Come on.
No, it's called capitalism. It's called competition. If you like it, do something near it. I mean,
What gets me about these anti-consumer people is a lot of these guys, and I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of these guys are the same people will tell you that it's worse to buy a used game than to steal a game. Like, if you pirate a game, that's better than buying a used game. And I'm like, fascinating. And the reasoning is basically they say, well, if you buy used games, that hurts the devs because the devs don't get anything out of that. And I'm like, okay, I'm buying a product that's made available to sell. I buy used stuff. People buy used cars. People buy all kinds of used things, right? But for some reason, we get worried about games not giving back enough money to the devs when we buy a used game. That's the one that we're going to white knight about. Okay. So it's better to pirate a game than to buy a used copy. It's not my fault as a consumer. I'm talking about anti-consumer. It's not my fault as a consumer that the devs and the publishers and everybody hasn't worked out some arrangement where devs aren't getting enough money. That's not my fucking problem. Okay?
No.
I don't worry about that for anything else that I buy used, but I'm supposed to worry about that for games? And it's like this. The devs won't put out demos for their games, right? And it's like,
no.
well,
What happened to that? If you want me to buy your game, show me the game.
Yeah.
Let me play the game. I might pay retail price for it.
Yeah, I see these statements, these devs say something to the effect of, and again, this is a specific thing. I'm not talking about all devs, but I've heard this statement made, well, just go pirate our game, and if you like it and you decide to buy it, then buy it. I'm like, wow,
No.
what a lazy, fucking, arrogant fucking thing to do. To put the onus on the consumer, you talk about anti-consumer, to put the onus on them, to put themselves out there with their ISP and their internet connection, going to some pirate website to go find what they think is your fucking game, but it's a pirated copy. Who's to say if it has fucking malware or whatever? Oh, but if there's good reviews at Pirate Bay, it should be. Come on, man. Come on. We're putting that on the consumer, and this is supposed to be pro-consumer? Come on. This pro-consumer bullshit is such hypocrisy. If devs give a shit about consumers, they give you a good product, right? And they make it available.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. If you car companies, they know every year they're going to sell X amount of their 2000 or X, Y, whatever their year's model. And they're not going to go out. I mean, first off, me and you can only talk about United States. We don't understand. I do not understand the rules, laws of all the countries in Europe and Asia. I don't, I'm not that smart. I don't say I am that smart. But United States, we have what's called open market. What's it called? Our economy. The open market. I maybe say that wrong, but we have the right to go out and sell something used.
Yeah, free trade. Yeah,
free trade. Yeah, free trade. And you can't do that. Go fuck yourself. I'm going to go sell my car to this person over here. Go fuck yourself. If you're worried about secondhand selling of your device, of your software, your phones, your PCs, your cars, your lawnmowers, then you don't understand. Make a really great product, and the people who have a little bit more money will buy that, and it'll trickle down. But anti-consumer for buying used games, that's just stupid. It's just
people looking for a reason to do what they want to do.
And a lot of people who wait for it used is because the game's not worth the retail price.
It's not my fault that the system doesn't allow for them to get the profit that they would get from a used game. They should figure that shit out. There should be arrangements in place. There should be some way that they figure out to make sure their devs get paid. If you're worried at the used game level about devs getting paid or not, you're worried. It's not our fault. We're consumers. That has nothing to do with us.
I actually saw at McKay's, it's a place I go look for used stuff. I saw first time ever 2 used Joy-Cons, a pair. They were $72. They were selling them $8 cheaper. They were brand. They look great. Oh my God. Nintendo's not going to get that profit of those Joy-Cons. That's not my problem.
Yeah, nobody worries about this when they go to the garage sales and they start picking up stuff at the. Oh, I don't know if this clothing designer is going to get paid because I'm buying these jeans.
I don't get that. It's just stupid. I think it's just whining and bitching out of people who just want to whine and bitch.
What it is people want to pirate games, and they're looking for an excuse. They're trying to justify some bullshit behavior they have, and then trying to act like they're the morally superior person because, well, at least I'm not buying used games. Fuck you. You're stealing.
You mean legally purchasing another device, another piece of software or product that's not pirated? Oh, wow.
It's horseshit. It's just it's another aggravation that I do have with the PC Master Race people, and it's not all of them, but there is a significant group of them that do this and promote this and talk about this, and then label themselves pro-consumers. They get on their cross and they're like, "Oh, we suffer so much for the gaming community. Oh, look what we have to do." And give me a fucking break, man. Like, really. You're going to put people out there that are doing things the right way. They're buying games. They're going out and buying them. No, okay, they buy used games. Why? Because the used game's cheaper, because it's made available cheaper. Do the sales like you do on the PS Plus or on Steam or whatever if you're so concerned about not making back that money on older games that are used. I mean, come on. Most of the money that's counted towards the success or failure of a game is money that's made in the first couple 3 weeks of game's release anyway, right?
Right. Or weeks to months after release, they got to make back that game. Well, Prey just came out with a massive error. Oh, they may not make some money back. Then you should have made a better game and released it right.
Yes.
Oh no. But Cyrus, that's your fault. That is your fault that they didn't do that. It's my fault. We might as well just go in the next room after this and just slam our head into the wall and then we suffered for the devs. Okay, they shouldn't have released Prey like that.
Yeah.
Arkham Knight shouldn't have been released like it was. Nintendo, you shouldn't have released Zelda with such bad frame rates. I said it.
Ryan makes a good point. You can buy the used game and still buy DLC. There are ways you can still support the devs if you're so concerned about that. Okay? Even though that's not your problem, people. That's not your responsibility as a consumer to make sure somebody gets paid. It's the responsibility of the publisher and the retailer and all the steps of things that happen along that chain. You're the consumer. This is not your problem. Anyway. So if Andromeda is getting sidelined or whatever's happening, if Mass Effect is going to have these problems, I'm fucking sorry. But you brought it on yourselves when you put out a game that wasn't what it should have been when it first came out. And if you're tracking sales in the first 3 weeks or however long and saying this is a success, this is not a success, those are the benchmarks you put in place, okay, for your own success. Sorry, it's your fault. You shouldn't have fucked up. But,
Stop
whatever.
Rushing development. Stop rushing games out there not finished. I think when more of the game studios and gaming, franchises, there we go, that fail like this or get pushed back, don't fuck them up.
Yeah.
I mean, and I make fun of Zelda a little bit. They released a game that was not broken. It was slightly marred. And there was a couple of times when I was in a point of first playing that game, that frame rate kind of sucked balls, and it was hurtful. But it wasn't broke. You're going to release a PC game that kills all your saves? Whatever. You'll release a PC game like Arkham Knight that completely and utterly just won't play? Again, just like No Man's Sky. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and I want to add one more thing. A while back in the chat, and I didn't get to it when it hit, but I'm going to say now, if a reviewer gives a game a 4 because the game's broken, okay, that's legitimate. Okay, he's doing them a favor coming back afterwards and fixing his review and saying, okay, now it's an 8 because now you fixed it. He has no responsibility to do that. Okay, if they're going to put out a game that's broken and say it's released now, okay. The game's released. Here it is. I'm going to review that game. And if that game is broken, I have every right to give that game a 4. And I'm sorry. I'm real sorry if that hurts the franchise or the devs or whoever. I'm sorry about that. But you did that. Okay? Don't blame the critic for addressing the problems you gave him. Okay, you put out a game which is full price, $60 game that doesn't work. It's going to be fixed later, maybe. Okay, it did get fixed. How much of that had to do with the bad review, I don't know. But it's not the person at the end of the chain that you blame for the problems up the chain. It goes back to what we were saying before.
Shit rolls downhill.
Yeah. So anyway,
I think we got off track. We're an hour and something into this. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. We got a lot of other things we got to get to. Okay, moving on. One thing I will mention also, I don't have a picture for this. Alan Wake is going away after this weekend. It's an older game. It came out on Steam, on computer, on Xbox, and if you haven't bought it, you can get it for like $3 right now on Steam, the full shebang with everything. But after this weekend, it goes away because they lost the license on the music. So that's a game I have to do something on. I actually have that game. I've had it for years. I've never played it. So,
well, I remember. What was it about again? I mean,
it's like a horror story. You're like a horror writer like Stephen King, and you're living in your own, you're not sure if this is real or not, and there's all this weird shit happening. It's like a horror story. So it looks kind of cool. Okay, moving on from that. It could be possible, as much as I do love PC gaming, regardless of what you might think, it could be possible in the near future that I could play some of my PC games on my Nintendo Switch. So there's this new software, which it's not really like anything groundbreaking if you really think about it, because there's streaming software very similar to this on all kinds of devices. But this Rainway software is apparently going to be licensed and put out on the Nintendo Switch store. So you could be playing your PC games streamed to your Nintendo Switch. So I thought that was fascinating and something that I think adds even more value to this little thing.
I'm just surprised that Nintendo's allowing this, but maybe they can say, oh, you want to sit around the house? You can stream your PC games over to our systems. Can you do that on your systems? I think this may be a way, it's all, Xbox and One and Windows 10 has this. Yeah. Sony put this version out. The last time I tested it, it sucked balls. I mean, it really did. I could actually stream my Xbox One over to my PC pretty well. Yeah. Hopefully they use maybe the Nvidia technology with some high-end, maybe H.265 codecs that you don't need for it, but the better the codec, the better the compression, maybe it'll work. And it would be kind of cool for a lot of people to play some games with a controller. There's people that play PC games with a controller. Some of them are good on PC. You could say, well, I like to play that on PC, but I can play that on my Switch now. I can sit in, I can play it on the TV,
Yeah, so you make a good point.
Right. The Shield technology. Yeah, it's probably going to work really well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I've played similar types of things. I think even my Ouya has something that does something like this. And to see it happen on a console, which I guess they're putting it on Xbox One too.
Yeah.
But to see that happening is pretty fascinating.
I hope it works well. I hope it's not too high. I will not buy it right off the bat unless it was like $10, $20. It's probably going to be $20, $30 for that software. It depends. But if everybody's like, holy shit, this thing works great, I'd be like, you might have to do that. I mean, I'd still, set up your PC. Maybe I can't really do it, but maybe wire your PC somewhere. But, you're not going to do it for everything. But for games that may take a controller or something, it means that you could be a PC gamer and your Switch gamer and never go to your PC. You may be able just to execute the games. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah.
And with that technology they've used in the Shield, I mean, a lot of people do that. A lot of people play their PC games on their TV as well. I mean, I've thought about moving my PC, just hook it up to my TV, but then I'd have to go get Bluetooth and get a new keyboard, mouse, and headset. And I'm like, do I want to do that? I've thought about it. I've really thought about moving my computer underneath my entertainment center. I just haven't made that move yet. I don't know if I really want to do that or not.
Well, the problem when you do that is when you sort of consoleize a PC is then you really can only use it that way. Like you don't have a desk to work at for other things that you might do on that computer, which is why people buy game consoles.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Unless if I got a big downstairs here, this is our house is 2,400 square feet. It's an older house we got. But if I put my PC over there, then I'll have to redo this setup. I'd have to go get my laptop again, which is fine, and set it up and broadcast with it. You can't sit in front of a computer and do your YouTube. You can't do stuff like that. So it's made me kind of go,
Yeah, I thought about hooking mine up to my TV because I have a 4K TV, and it'd be pretty cool to do some testing at 4K. I've done it a little bit, but it's such a pain in the ass, man, because it's like I gotta move all this shit and figure out where the mouse is gonna go, and the keyboard.
You'd have to get you a lap desk. You'd have to get you one of those lap desks and get you a Bluetooth wireless keyboard and mouse. Install Bluetooth, which that's easy. You just plug a dongle in, usually on the front of it, so you could actually see it, and just do that. I mean, now Cell Process said it's $20 now. Steam Link. I thought about Steam Link.
Yeah. Steam Link. That's an interesting idea. I don't know, man, because streaming, we were just talking about a second ago, streaming from your PC to your Switch sounds interesting. Streaming with a Steam Link, that might be interesting too. You have to ask yourself about this technology, though. Would you really be happy with the streaming? Because you lose a little bit. You do lose, some.
Yeah,
quality.
but I game at 1080. I don't even game at over 60 frames per second, so I'd probably lose very little.
It's true. And
does it Steam Link use keyboard and mouse as well?
Yeah, I think he's saying it works really good for him.
Yeah,
I've heard it works really well. I don't know. That'd be interesting. If you got that, I'd be very curious about that.
I might consider it. I've been looking at it because the thing about it is that, yeah, you could turn around and do that. They're saying you really should hardwire it, which I could easily hardwire anything. I'd have to get another splitter in there, which those are like $10 and $15 for my TV. But yeah, I could do that. But the thing about it is, I'm really wondering if I should just start getting rid of some of my not get rid of them, but move my consoles around, or maybe box one of them up or something. I don't use them, but
yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. I got all these consoles around and I don't really use them, and I'm like, especially since I got that Android box, I do that for a lot of these retro systems. I'm like, I don't know, might be wise to protect some of this stuff. I don't know. Well, we're talking about like this streaming thing and possibly coming to the Switch. There's a lot of other things that might be coming to the Switch at E3. There's been a lot of speculation about what's probably going to be happening with Nintendo. We know we're absolutely going to see this Super Mario Odyssey thing blowing up at E3, which, man, that game is going to kill in the fall. But what else? Have you been hearing other rumors about things we might be seeing at E3 from Nintendo?
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of information on ARMS and Splatoon 2. The Splatoon 2 is going to be showing for doing some type of a tournament. So you're going to be seeing a lot of information. Yeah, I looked at that Steam Link here. You get the Steam Link power cable adapter, HDMI 2.0 cable, and Ethernet cable. And yes, it works. Hosts everything. You can display up to 1080p, and it does keyboard and mouse.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I've actually thought about it's $20 right now, $20, and I'm like,
that for the whole setup or just for the receiver? Or I don't know how this
works.
Get
you get the box, power cable, adapter, HDMI, Ethernet. I still have to go get other stuff. Now you can hook up an Xbox One controller, an Xbox 360 wired controller. I got those. A wireless controller, a Logitech, the Steam controller, or keyboard mouse. So I could drop one in and try the sucker with an Xbox 360 controller and play some games and see how it does. I don't know. I may do that.
Oh, Origin games don't work. So is it only Steam games that work on it? Interesting.
It's pretty much, it's a Steam Link. It works with Steam. Which, I mean, I actually don't have Origin. I have Blizzard games, and I'm going to play Blizzard games with keyboard and mouse like Diablo and World of Warcraft. But,
That's interesting to think about. $20. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
very. It's not a lot of money to invest. I mean, something to think about. Anyway, so I was asking about with as far as Nintendo. I know we're gonna see this Super Mario Odyssey, like you said, Arms and Splatoon. I'm hearing like a lot of like people like talking, chatter about like possibly Nintendo having some big surprises, big games getting announced.
I think we're going to see a big. I think we're going to see some type of Metroid or some type of game, another IP of their franchise come back and show something out. And I was hearing what I heard. I thought somebody might say we might see. It was still rumored that Square might say that Final Fantasy VII remake might come to it because remake is completely an Unreal. And I will tell you this: anybody that shits on the Switch, if you program a game in Unreal, it's already in the fucking code. All you have to do is click two types. And not just click. It takes a lot more, work. But I wonder if I could run it on the Switch. You could say render in dock mode, render in handheld, port your game over, and sit there and try it. That's all it has to do. People would Unreal Games do this in a day or two, and it's Square. If they put Final Fantasy VII remake on that, and you could play that on the go. Holy shit. It may not look as clean as the PS4 and Xbox One. I don't care.
Do you think we're gonna
would be this?
You think we're gonna see virtual console stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we have to, right? I mean, shit, it's they got to announce something for the retro stuff. I mean, they killed the damn NES Classic. We got to get something. Either give us I mean, you either announce you're gonna have a new NES Classic and a Super Nintendo Classic or something, or
a new NES Classic. What?
No, I'm just saying, like, either you gotta give us some way to play these games, like, you know what I mean, like some way to purchase these games. It's either gonna be a new NES Classic or it's gonna be Virtual Console. I think those are the only two options.
They've got. Well, also I think it's going to be Virtual Console, and their online's going to find. They've got to give us the goddamn app, Nintendo. I can't even fucking do anything with like voice chat over your system now. Where's the voice chat app? Yeah. They said sometime in spring. Now summer. Enough.
It's man.
I'm not paying for your online system. I will not pay for their online system if it's shit. I don't pay for Sony and Microsoft now. I have not paid for their system in nearly a year.
I mean, Sony went the entire PS3 generation without charging, just so they could make sure they had it all working and figured out, and and then they finally enabled it for PS4. But man, I think Nintendo's like so far behind on that shit that it's like I can't imagine paying for. They have a long way to go before I'm talking about paying for an online system from them. I mean, shit, we don't even have the app. Like you said, we have no way to test, no way to even see anything.
Only thing we're going to do is play. I just want to try Discord with my phone. Nick and I did. We're going to try to get, sometime we're going to get that. I'm going to probably call you up and see if you're available and say, okay, let's move you into Discord and let's try Mario Kart. But I have to use somebody else's damn hardware, Nintendo. What the fuck?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out more about this at E3. I really hope so. I hope so. And, I'm hearing like some other Wii U games might get moved because they're so easy for them to move over, like Smash Brothers and some stuff like that. And
yeah.
I'm also hearing a possibility about a Pokemon, a new Pokemon.
Oh, game. Pokemon Stars. Yeah. If they say Pokemon comes out, they better have enough elves in that damn, they better go clone some people and make switches. Yeah. I'm telling Sony and Microsoft will drop a shit brick if they say Pokemon's coming to our console and you can play on the TV and in the car and on the shitter and take it to you at work. And they're going to be like, son of a bitch. Yeah. The Game Boy was not that great of a console until Pokemon blasted the Game Gear, the Lynx out of the water at the Turbo Express.
Yeah.
That console was a little dinky console. It was a great handheld. It was not that good. They put Pokemon on this with Mario coming out and stuff. Oh, Sony and Microsoft better go put on a cup. Nintendo's going to kick them in the balls, and it's they're not directly competing. They're giving another alternative.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right, guys, we've talked a little bit long here. This is like a show and a half here.
Yeah.
We got ranting about that PC stuff, but it comes back, doesn't it? We never quite get there's certain issues, certain topics that we can't ever get away from. We keep coming back to. Nintendo Switch will always dominate what we talk about. We'll always come back to the PC console bullshit that we've had to deal with. And then of course the Coleco Chameleon. It will always be there. It will always be there in the back of our minds. So anyway, so you got anything you want to leave off with? Anything else?
No, I think we've talked an extra long bit today. I think we're good.
Guys, thanks for joining the chat. Really appreciate y'all contributing to the conversation. And we'll be back next Sunday, with a new episode. Maybe?
Let's see. That's the 21st. We're going to have to do that's that weekend. I'm going to go out with some people that I get together with. We're going to try. We'll do something around Monday or so. Definitely. Yeah. We're not going to skip a week. We'll have to reschedule it.
I'll schedule it. You'll see it pop up here on the Epically Geeky YouTube channel. Just check that and check our Twitters also, and we'll have more information about it. But guys, thanks. We appreciate it. And we'll be back with more game rambling and more fun stories soon. So for now, I am Cyrus.
I'm Pickyo Gamer.
And we'll see you next time.